Hi guys, welcome back to another video.
I'm HDA Pratt.
And I'm Lauren.
And we are the Unearthly Gang.
Woo! Today we will be talking about what has returned. The Great British Bake Off.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Who in Britain isn't happy about the Great British Bake Off?
British telly.
British.
Can't beat
Pure
it.
British telly.
Yeah, you can't get more British than that really,
No,
can you?
not the Bake Off.
Name.
In the Bake
Oh, on one today.
Though it's not BBC anymore. It's not real.
Oh, yeah.
Channel 4.
Yeah.
Shout out to Channel 4. What?
Sponsored, not sponsored.
You can sponsor us if you want to.
Please.
We don't mind. Go for it.
So, obviously it was on last night, aired last night, didn't it?
Who watched it? Definitely tag us down below and let us know if you've watched it, if you're loving it already, because we are.
Let us know what you think.
Yes.
Did the right winner? Did they deserve to?
Yeah.
Did the person that was voted out deserve to be?
Lauren is very emotional about this right now. Very emotional.
Devastated.
She was in love already.
I was.
You know, why not?
I was. You just, I think, you know when you're watching a film or a programme, there's always some sort of eye candy.
And he was your eye candy.
Yeah,
and now he's gone.
I loved him. He was tall, long hair, dark hair, beard, tattoos. I thought,
to a T.
Can't wait to see him. He can't wait. I was like,
bye. What was his name again?
Dan. And
see a pattern here.
Did you see his eyes?
Carl said that. He's got like one blue and one dark.
One brown eye, and I'm sure the camera noticed because it zoomed right in on his eyes, and I paused it. I was like, oh,
I love that about people. Like that kind of different thing. It's so interesting.
And he got voted out. So I was like, oh, great.
Bye, Dan. Shout out to Dan.
Yes.
Though I do have to say the one that's cute, he's a church goer.
Oh, I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name, but
it takes me a while.
It made me because it takes a while to get into it. The guy. It made me literally when it happened. I felt my own soul drop, and I felt so bad for him in the moment where he's about to put that sugar-coated house on top of that cake, and it was like an inch away, and it just felt. And like Carl had walked out the room, and he was like, "Did he catch it?" I was like, "No, he didn't catch it. He didn't catch it." Like I felt so, and it looked so good, and it would have been so good if he had finished it that way.
They have a few young ones on there actually this year.
He
was a young one.
Yeah,
and
he's young.
I think the other one,
Jamie,
yes.
He
was 20, I think he said on there.
In my opinion, I think he should have gone home. He might grow more.
I think it was a close call.
Yeah, I think he might grow more because he's young. He might get into it, and you never know where he's going to go. But I do think out of the two, in my opinion, he was worse. He had a worse week. Not saying he's a worse baker.
No. Well, that's how the show works.
It's so
that's
different.
How they look at it.
Carl always says when they go into the bake off, it's so different with the humidity. It's not a kitchen. It's not enclosed.
Yes.
It's outside.
Yeah.
So the weather is rainy and humid. That completely changes how you're going to bake, like entirely.
I know.
So
can you imagine how hot it must be in that table, mustn't it? Obviously, depending on when they film it. But
is it so? Is it all completely filmed and then they just play it like RuPaul's Drag Race, or is it just?
I think it's
shout
filmed.
Out to RuPaul's Drag Race. Hashtag.
Fit that in there when you
yeah, love it. Love
it,
RuPaul.
Man. Beautiful man.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they film it over a succession of a couple of days.
Yes.
I think.
I know the first 2 days are, but I mean, is in there? Have they filmed the whole series already, and then they play it back?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah. I guess because they've got to go down to where.
I think that's how most. I mean, obviously, I'm no expert, but I think that's how a lot of TV shows do it.
Well, unless it's
live.
Must
be hard
because it's not live, is it?
If you've won, you've got to keep that secret.
Yeah, that's
until
true.
It's aired, haven't
that's
you?
it.
So...
And you've just got to slowly. And imagine you've won, but people don't actually like you. Sorry. Yeah. Can you imagine? If people don't, do you know what I mean? Not like you, but not be that into you, and then you end up winning, and they're like, "Oh, great," and you'd be like, "I'm the winner," but it doesn't actually seem to matter.
Yeah.
Because it's
like,
obviously.
Oh, we want the other person to win. Yay me!
Woo! I'm so great.
So, were there any? I like talking about the showstoppers.
Yes.
I love the showstopper ones.
Well, that's why they're the showstoppers, aren't they?
Exactly.
Like that is, it's in the name.
Exactly.
Showstoppers.
My
favourite one had to hands down be, I think it was Heidi, the Fairy Garden. The Fairy Garden. Hashtag Furry Garden, like 100%.
Paul's
like,
Furry Garden.
Do you know what I mean? He looked so
love it.
He couldn't take
they?
it serious at all,
They
could
love
he?
it.
He could not take it serious.
Cool was the sexual innuendo.
Honestly. But it was, to me, hands down, one of the best. I think it was the best looking one. I think the one that won the Baker of the Week did deserve to win Baker of the Week because they said it was the best cake.
Yeah.
Like, is it No, when she said, Carl said he had never, because she was on where they have to do menus, Great British menu, I think, and then they do like a gala at the end and they get chosen for certain rounds.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
she used to be on that, and Carl said for who she is and how high up she is and all that kind of stuff, he would never thought he would hear her say that is the best cake I've ever tasted. So that is such a high remark.
Yeah, because they couldn't fault it, could they? They said like there were no faults.
To me, the presentation wasn't as good as the Fairy Garden of Heidi's, but I do think the Fairy Garden. But I do think it obviously blew them out of the water, and I like that they take the whole week into account, the whole 2 days.
Make it fair,
do you know what I mean? So it's all the rounds.
Bad days, don't they?
Yeah.
These things happen.
It's not. They don't just
people
base
drop
it
their
on
cakes. It happens.
Buy cake.
Buy cake. I just pick up the floor. 5-second rule. It's still good. It's just slather icing on there. It's fine. Nobody saw. Pick the hair up. It's fine. Sorted. Well, my favourite showstopper was David. He did the snake.
Yes.
What did he call it? He called it Snaky Birthday Cake.
Snaky birthday.
Snaky Birthday Cake.
I love the idea.
That's something I would call it as well.
I love the idea when he opened it up and there was the jelly snakes inside.
Yes.
I thought that was so clever and original.
Oh, that was amazing.
Like, you couldn't have gone wrong with that.
Amazing. But I loved that. And also he used the netting from Oranges.
Yes.
Which reminded me of me when I used to do my makeup.
Yes, of course, yes.
I will try and insert a picture here. When I used to do my makeup, I used that technique on my face.
And it looks so good.
When I transformed myself into a snake.
But it looks so realistic. It actually looks like scales.
It was so good.
Like it's insane.
Really, really good.
So I think the only thing that let me down for that cake, because he'd done the scales inside and they looked so realistic, I didn't like the head as much because the head didn't seem to go... Because he didn't do the same effect on the head. I think if he had done the effect on the head, it would have looked perfect.
Yeah.
He missed that. So for me, that was the bit you missed.
He might have run out of time.
Yeah, that's true. Like, you never know.
Like, if you've got all the time in the world, you just make it absolutely perfect, don't you? But I just don't know. I couldn't deal with that pressure.
No.
I couldn't do it.
God, no. And it's like when Dan, when they were trying his cake, and he's like, it's in there, and they kept getting higher and higher in the cake, and the flavour wasn't there.
That's another thing. You've got to be quite a strong person. So not that I would, because I can't bake to save my life. So if you put all that effort into baking this cake and you're really proud of it and you're like, do you know what, I'm really proud of this.
Yeah.
And then the judge just try it and they're like, no, don't like it. Don't like this. No. It's a bit rubbish, isn't it? How they don't stand there and cry.
I love, when they would, when they did the technical and they were lined up and they were saying about it and they said like, I think it was Jamie's and they were like, well, this isn't very good, is it? And he was like, thank you.
Yeah, that's what I would be like.
Well, how else are you going to reply?
Exactly.
Like,
thanks. Appreciate that.
I'm just going to cry. I'll walk out now.
I would. I'd go out and cry. I'd probably put on a front. I'd probably be like that. Thank you. So what do you think of the judges? I know it's the same as last year.
So
do you like the judges?
Well, I've got to be honest.
Have you? Yeah.
And I haven't watched it since Mary Berry and that. I haven't been in it. So this is my first series back to with the new guys. I thought, give it a go. Why not? And you like it, and Tammy likes it. So I thought I'd give it a go and see what happens. And I actually quite enjoyed it, and it wasn't as bad as different to it. It's quite
such
similar.
An easy watching program.
That's what I mean.
Isn't it?
And
it is.
I liked the quirky bit at the beginning. Carl didn't like, he thought it was cringy, but I liked the beginning where they had the yellow brick road. And he was like dressed up as Dorothy, and when he turns up and she's in the lion's outfit, and they're like, "Why are you wearing a lion's outfit?" And she's like, "This is all that was left." So I am. But I liked how ridiculous that was, and then when he then clicks his heels and they go back and they're on their uniforms, but he's still in the Dorothy outfit. Yeah. I thought I like that kind of silly.
That's British comedy, isn't it?
That's it.
That's British comedy. A lot of Americans and that they won't understand British comedy because it's so different. Like you watch American sitcoms, and I'm not a fan of some of them.
I think
because I don't understand how they're funny.
When I grew up watching Friends, you then I'm now used to that. But Friends, to me, if you compare that to, as much as I liked How I Met Your Mother when it first started, How I Met Your Mother and Big Bang Theory, they're not the same. I feel like Friends has more of a British humour tinge to it.
It does.
It's a bit more dark
humour.
It's more
Relatable as
realistic.
well. Yeah, it's more realistic. Yeah,
and
it is.
Yeah, no, I think British humour does that very well. It's very different. So
and it's
a
like,
British show like this,
like The Office as well. I know obviously they made the American Office, but Ricky Gervais's one is still different. Yeah. I think.
Oh, 100%.
Because I'm a huge The Office fan. I just love it.
I think The Office is what people who work in office or any job is. In their heads, in the office, they get away with doing how you've always wanted to do at work. Yeah. Like the scene where they roll in and they start rolling on the sofas to be like, let's go to work. They roll on in. Literally, it's like, that's what we would love to do stupidly.
Because, British humour as well, just going a bit off subject, just talking about typical British everything. But is Ricky Gervais. Like,
you love him.
I love him. Oh, I love him. He's just typical British humour, but he's just so raw and honest. Doesn't care.
But what I love is when he went to America, they said, why don't you get your teeth done? And he was like, well, why would I get my teeth done? These are my teeth. Yeah. And it's like, because British, at least we didn't used to care as much about how our teeth are. Like, we care about how our teeth are, but not we don't expect to have pristine, straight teeth and angles and purely white, because teeth don't really look like that unless you've had loads of money put into them.
Exactly.
And we don't have money to waste on teeth.
Exactly. We'd all love perfect teeth. I know I would. But it's just one of those things. It's one of those things. I love Noel. I mean, who doesn't love Noel Feeding?
IT crowd, like, come on.
Just,
when he's in the cupboard.
He's just so amazing. And they referenced, I can't remember who it was on the show, but they talked about Moonface, and Noel was like, oh! Yes. Talking about Moonface. I love him.
I like the tree cake.
That was really good.
That was interesting. Do you know what I mean? And they were so like, would never think to do this as an idea. And the great thing is, I liked seeing some of them where it was like, there were great things and the cake was good. Yeah. And they said, because that's obviously what they want the showstopper, but they also want the cake to taste amazing.
It's the taste.
And that's obviously,
counts, doesn't it?
Like it can be, even if it's horrible looking, at least if it tastes good, you're going to get some points for Paul and...
Exactly. Prue.
It is Prue.
It is Prue.
Okay. Paul and Prue, you're going to get some. Paul and Prue. Well, that's it. When the other presenter, the one from QI, when she says Paul and Prue, she sometimes says it so quickly it kind of merges into one word.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Do you know what I mean? So I kind of, I'm like, what she just said? Prue will judge them.
Yeah. So the first bake that they did obviously was the fruitcake.
I am not a fan of fruitcake.
No, me neither. So I watched it and I was like, oh. And because one of them they did a fruitcake with all dried fruit, and like, I don't mind the odd raisin.
Is that the vet?
I think so. But she put all like dried like apricot and everything in there. At first I was like, no. And then I think she put like rum in, and I was like, no. And then she put marzipan. I don't like marzipan.
No, I don't like marzipan.
That's like on Battenbergs, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Battenberg cakes I don't like.
No,
marzipan.
I'm not a fan of marzipan.
So that's another thing though, just again off topic slightly, but when you're a food judge, you've got to sort of like everything, haven't you?
I think
it must be really difficult.
I guess even if you don't like something, you have to be able to know what it tastes like to know if it tastes good as a cake. Like, so say if you don't like fruitcake, but you're a baker and like you're Paul Hollywood, but you hate fruitcake, you have to know exactly how fruitcake and good fruitcake is meant to taste to the masses, so that when you taste it, you know that is a good fruitcake. Yeah. Because for me, I hate it. I would eat it and I'd be like, horrible.
Yeah, me too.
Horrible. You've all done a horrible job because I hate fruitcake.
They look great.
They're great. I like the ones where they were more grooved. They were in the bun tins that made them groove.
Yeah,
and there was that really one person that put the marzipan down the sides.
Yeah.
I thought that was very clever.
They looked really lovely.
That looked nice. So I liked...
They dribbled the icing down, didn't they?
I thought they looked really presentation good. Lovely. Really I just know for a fact that I wouldn't enjoy it.
Can you imagine the smell of that tin?
God. It probably smells lovely.
Oh, it would smell amazing. The inner me would just be like, oh my god, it smells so good.
What can I have? What can
I eat? So, that was our take on this week's.
Yes. So let us know down below what you think and what your favourite people were again. And even maybe if you like fruitcake or not. If it's your favourite cake even. And maybe tag in your type of favourite cake. If it's not fruitcake, what is it? We'd love to know. It'd be interesting to find out. We'll even put in our description.
We want to get to know you guys.
Yeah, we want you.
We want to get to know. So comment and
let us know what you think.
Yeah.
So don't forget to click that subscribe button and turn on your little notification bell. Use this little tagline here and follow us on social media if you want to. Comment on there as well. We'd love to hear you on there and see what your thoughts are on that. Yeah. And don't forget to click that like button. So we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.